So if you've been in DXC for a while, you've probably heard the words project plan a lot. But what exactly is a project plan and why are we so obsessed with them? In this video, I'm going to talk briefly about what a project plan is, when to use one, and why they're important. Project plans are basically to-do lists on steroids. You can think of it as a spreadsheet with a bunch of tasks that need to be done, with columns to indicate who's doing that task, when it has to be done, whether it's done or not, any notes associated with it, etc. And we'll get into how exactly you make that and what it looks like in a future video, but essentially think of it as a really, really awesome and organized to-do list. But when would you use something like this? I think it's good to use a project plan every time you're faced with some sort of complicated project or a project that you're going to be working on with multiple people. So if you are going to a friend's birthday party and you're baking a cake for that birthday party, you probably don't need a project plan unless it's a very elaborate cake. But if you and your friends are throwing a giant party for the community and there's going to be venues and food and you're hiring a DJ and all those sorts of things, that's probably when you're going to want to use a project plan. But why are project plans so great and awesome, so exciting that I want to talk about them all the time versus just a regular to-do list that's scribbled on a piece of paper? Or even worse, a to-do list that's just being held in your head because for the love of God, please do not rely on your brain to remember the things that you need to do because your brain is very valuable. I'm going to share 5 reasons why I think project plans are really, really incredible tools for organizing. The first is that project plans allow you to break down complicated projects into manageable chunks. Oftentimes, I hear people say, they have this amazing idea, but they don't know exactly how to get off the ground, especially when it's something that seems really daunting. A project plan forces you to think about all the different steps that need to happen in order for you to reach your goal or complete your project. So it forces you to break it down and put them in the order of the things that need to happen, and each of those tasks seems so much more manageable than the entire project. So when I'm thinking about planning the Animal Liberation Conference, for example, just thinking about how to plan a 7-day conference for 1,000 people is really overwhelming. But if you start thinking, okay, we need to book the venues and we need to hire one caterer and we need to think of the action plans, all that starts to seem way more manageable. So the first reason, like I mentioned, is that project plans can break down complicated projects into manageable tasks. The second reason why you should use a project plan is because they are really great for collaborating with others. If I just have a to-do list on a scrap of piece of paper, then I can't really share that with anyone. But project plans, especially when you're using them on Google Drive, which we'll talk about in a later video, allows you to send that to someone else. They can see what their tasks are. They can edit it at the same time as you're editing it, even if you're halfway around the world. So anytime you're working on a team, I highly recommend using a project plan. The third reason is that project plans help with accountability and quality control. So it's a lot easier to forget something if you're not writing it down or you can't actually remember if you've done it or not. But in a project plan, it's very clear, all the tasks, and seeing whether or not it's done. And there's also a little bit of peer pressure there where you can see if someone else's tasks are done and other people can see if you haven't done your tasks either. And that also makes it much less likely that you're going to forget a really important element like in this party, hiring the DJ. If there's a line on the project plan that says you should hire the DJ, you're probably more likely to remember to actually do that than just showing up at the party and realizing you forgot to do one of the most important steps. The fourth reason why project plans are really great is because they are dynamic and live documents. So again, if you just write something down on a piece of paper, it's hard to edit it, it's hard to rearrange it, it's hard to make changes, versus something on the computer that can be edited constantly, can be shared with other people. It allows you to sort the tasks by whether they're done or not, by the due date, by who's supposed to do them, all sorts of different things, which I'll show in a different video. But it allows you to get a really clear picture of where you're at and makes it really user-friendly to complete all the tasks and get towards your end goal. And the last reason why I think project plans are really awesome is because they serve as a template for future use. So when I start planning the next Animal Liberation Conference, I don't start from scratch. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I can just look back at the 2019 Animal Liberation Conference project plan, make a copy of it, of course change some things, but I have a good starting point. It also allows me to then share that project plan with anyone else who says, hey, I'm interested in organizing a conference for grassroots animal rights activists, and I've done this like multiple times. I just say, here's what we did. And you can use that. I mean, of course, if it's like a confidential action plan, you might not want to do something like that, but it allows people to share knowledge and resources really easily, much better than if I just had something written down or in my brain and then I threw it out at the end of the conference, and then the next time I do something, I have to start all over again. So those are my top 5 reasons why I really think that everybody who's organizing and doing grassroots animal rights activism should be familiar with project plans. And in upcoming videos, I'm going to actually show you how you can make one and how you can use them effectively. So stay tuned.